Fox football analyst Reggie Bush. Good to
Welcome.
have you with us.
Welcome to the team.
Yes.
Go.
And congratulations. Yeah, we're so glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
It's going to be a fun football season. But first, we've got to talk about the NFL, and we'll get college stuff later. So, Reggie, did Le'Veon win or lose in this deal?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think he won because he got $35 million guaranteed as a 27-year-old running back.
Okay.
And what position on the football field ages faster than running backs, right?
You would know.
I would know, right? And I don't know where this kind of narrative started, but it's like when you get past 25 and you start getting close to 26, 27, and you've had a lot of carries, and maybe you get injured once or twice, things like injury prone, he lost a step, he's getting older. Those things start to follow
you. Where did it hit you? Can you remember what
It hit
year?
me at 29. So it was my second year in Detroit. I was 29 years old. This was 5 years ago. And so my first year in Detroit, me and Joique Bell, we set a record for most yards and touchdowns by a running back tandem.
Okay.
And so the next year, I got injured. I had a high ankle sprain, and it kind of nagged throughout the season. I didn't really get healthy towards the end of the season. And then I got released after that year. And so I was due $8 million on a 4-year contract. And they cut me because they wanted to get younger, and they didn't want to go cheaper. Right? And so they brought in these younger guys who they felt like were going to give them the same production.
How was your speed at that point?
My speed was still great. I was
Quickness,
still explosive. I still had my speed. I still had my burst. I didn't lose a step.
Okay.
But they brought in these younger.
You ran at the combine 4.3.
4.33. Yeah, I ran 4.33.
I know.
So
If only.
That's
I was still explosive.
Yeah.
I was still explosive, and I still could play at a high level. So when I got injured,
And you weren't like punishing between the tackles back.
No, I was never that.
Yeah.
Ever in my career, I was never that. And so they cut me because they wanted to get younger and cheaper. Well, they just found a 100-yard rusher this football season
I know, that's true.
for the first time since me.
Since
So
you. Okay.
to me, what that says is, again, the running back position, for whatever reason, ages faster than any other position on this field. And so for Le'Veon Bell, he got $35 million guaranteed, and I know people look at, well, he would have made more on that franchise tag, right? Which is true, but he would have played on a 1-year deal. And so playing on a 1-year deal, if you get injured as a running back, he's about to be 27 years old, those things will start to follow him, and it would have been tough for him to get this contract because he has been injured before, and he has had a lot of carries in Pittsburgh.
And a lot of touches.
And a lot of touches.
A lot of passes.
Yeah, he had a lot of touches, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you made that point because he accounted for about 50% of that production, that offense. It was him and Antonio Brown. Juju Smith was not what he is right now, right? And so for him, he's looking at this thing like, well, AB just got paid. So now it's my turn to get paid. And they wanted to box him in as a running back. He's saying, no, wait a minute. I'm more than a running back. I'm the workhorse because I play receiver and running back. So I'm your workhorse. AB is, for the glitz and glamour, but for me, I'm the guy who's putting in the real work here. So I want to get paid like that. I don't want to get paid like a running back. And what did Pittsburgh do? They wanted to box him into a category as a running back.
Just for perspective, your first few years in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, yes.
How many touches? Like, would you be down the list in total touches?
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of touches because we had multiple running backs.
Like it kept some years on
It
your
did.
life,
I agree.
right?
Yes,
okay.
I agree. It didn't stop me from getting injured though.
It did
right?
not.
I still got injured.
It's a hard game.
It is.
Le'Veon Bell, over his first 5 years, had the second most touches to LaShawn McCoy in the National Football League. And then in 2017, his last year that he played, he had the most touches. So he's taken a lot of punishment and abuse. And I always say this about, I love the Dallas Cowboys and I love Zeke. He is high collision. He's kind of the flip side of you because sometimes Zeke looks for contact. Like he looks to run through the brick wall.
Yes, he does.
And he will run through it on
he will.
occasion. And he runs with his heart, man. But the rest of you can't take it. You can't take that kind of pounding. So I say his window will close.
I agree.
Pretty quickly.
Well, look what they did to DeMarco Murray.
I know.
Same thing.
A
lot of touches.
High collision.
Got rid of him.
High collision. And we know what happened once upon a time to Earl Campbell, where you just
Exactly.
can't do that. After a while, you're going to pay for that the rest of your life,
100%,
right?
100%.
So with Le'Veon, there's not that much tread left on the tires, which is why I think he lost. If I'd played this for him, if I'd advised him, I'm taking the 14.5 last year because you can't ever recoup that. And I would have played it out, hope to have a good to very good year.
It's a lot of hope.
I know, but then I think you could have gotten more money because you'd have had a bigger market. Because now people are looking back like skeptically, like, "Are you all in? Or do you really want this?" Did you stay in great shape? I kept reading reports, and I have no idea how true they are, that he gained some weight because you're probably just going to gain weight. He's not a workout warrior like Adrian Peterson is, right? Not like you. I see you in the gym all the time. He still gets after it.
Right? You see me in that gym still getting it.
He gets
No
after
way.
it. No, he gets after it. Every time I see him in the gym, he's like bigger than I think. Because I was at USC, I thought you were like a scat back, but you're...
It's official.
You're bigger.
He's watching your
What did you weigh at USC?
I got the approval.
I don't know, like
205.
205. So it's not like you're a little guy. It's not like you're 180, or, you know.
Right.
Okay, so Le'Veon, he finds himself on a market that dwindles down to nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted Le'Veon Bell because they're all a little skeptical. So he was very lucky. The Jets needed some star power. They need a marquee, something to sell.
They need a splash.
Yeah, and he's a splasher. He's going to splash in New York next year. Will he change their life? No, I don't think so, because I just don't think they're good enough. I'm not sure about the young USC quarterback going in his second year.
I would agree with all of that.
Okay.
I would agree with all that.
They're in a division owned by Brady and Belichick, so it's going to be hard to compete in that division.
Gase knows all about that division.
What's that?
Adam Gase knows all about that division.
No, that's a very, very good point. And in the end, Le'Veon, he got an okay deal. And to your point, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And it's second best to Todd Gurley's deal.
Yes. Yeah.
I think New York was bidding against itself because I think they didn't have to give him this deal. I think they gave him this much because they didn't want an unhappy camper. Like you can't just shame him. You know,
I agree.
If you can't just hold him up, you know, and then expect him to come in and be enthusiastic about playing for the Jets.
I agree.
So to me, in the end, he's going to go to a team where he's been used to winning and competing for championships. Every time he stepped on the field in every August for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you think in your heart of hearts, we got a shot, right?
It's going to be the year for him.
Maybe this time we break through against Brady and Belichick in the AFC Championship game, right? But in this case, he's going to a team that doesn't really have a chance next year that I can see.
Yeah.
So if they get off wrong, if they get off slow, get off cold, I know what he is. He's going to sulk. He's going to pout. He's going to say, what am I doing? Where am I? And then maybe his thoughts are going to go to his rap career, which I think is dear to his heart. I think he really wants to rap. I mean, he does rap. He's on a bigger stage where he can promote that. So I just don't know if he's going to be worth even this much to this team.
The one thing, I just want to go back to one thing you said. You said that, well, he could have played on this one-year deal and hoped for. In the NFL, we can't live on hope. In the NFL, there's contracts and there's business, and that is it. There's no hope of, I hope next year I'm going to make this amount of money. I hope this year, because when the NFL is done with you, you're not getting it back. I don't care what you try to do. You try to unretire, you are not getting it back, right? And Adrian Peterson, one of my good friends, and I love him to death. I studied him while I played in the league, but he is not going to get the respect that in a contract that he may want for the body of work that he's put in throughout the course of his career, right? I think we can agree on that, right? And so eventually that's going to happen to Le'Veon Bell. Everybody gets old in this league. Everybody goes through it, especially running backs, and we get old faster than any other position. For him, getting this kind of money right now at 27 years old, this is a win for him because we don't get another shot at another contract. This is it.
This is it.
This is his last contract. So it's had to work out for him. He had no choice. This had to work out for him.
Okay. So speaking of New York, another superstar left New York for Cleveland, Odell Beckham Jr. Your
feel bad for New York right now.
What?
Boy, seriously.
Well, listen, I think the Giants are going to regret this trade because now defenses can just stack the box. Now it's simple for defenses, right? And I don't know who they're going to get in the draft, who they're going to make a trade for, because they need a quarterback. They need some more receivers. They need some players, right? They got Saquon Barkley. And so as a defensive coordinator right now, without going through the draft and whoever else they may get, I'm stacking the box. I'm putting 8 to 9 guys in the box, and I'm making sure the focal point of this offense is Saquon Barkley. I need to stop Saquon Barkley. I'm not worried about Eli's arm. I'm not worried about any of these other receivers. Sterling Shepard, I think he's great, but Sterling Shepard, they need other pieces to that
Evan
puzzle.
Ingram, they got.
Evan Ingram. And so right now, to me, this does not look, I don't know how fans go to the games and how they can be happy. How can they be energetic about what they're going to see, what kind of production they're going to get. John Dorsey is quickly becoming one of my favorite general managers in the NFL.
He's becoming like an internet hero.
He really is, because from the day he stepped foot on the Cleveland Browns territory, he has done nothing but just sign great players, great talent.
Great players.
And his narrative, he's saying it loud and clear, like, listen, we want to win, and we want to win right now. And had Baker Mayfield started off the season last year, they would have made it to the playoffs. They 100% would have made it to the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
Before the year,
I would love another Hard Knocks.
Start him from the start, they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now,
were they 7-8-1? I think they could have won a couple more games.
Yeah, and now they're going from, I picked them to win the division. Now we're talking about legitimate Super Bowl contenders for the Cleveland Browns.
You'd go that far?
I go that far, yes.
I'm a little
Who in that
skeptical.
division is going to stop Odell, Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb? Don't forget, they signed Kareem Hunt. They still got
Duke Johnson.
Yeah, Duke Johnson. They got a lot of players on that team right now.
It's
And
the deepest receiving core in the league.
The Baltimore Ravens got worse on defense.
They keep getting worse by the day, and they lost C.J. Mosley, and they haven't added anybody, and I don't know what they're doing. So they're out. They are out. I still like Pittsburgh a little better because I'm not sure about Cleveland's defense. I'm just not sure. They lost Greg Williams, their coordinator, who I'm a huge fan of.
I love Greg. Greg Williams helped me win the Super Bowl. I love Greg Williams. I love Greg
Big
Williams.
loss for them.
Yes, I remember when Greg Williams came on a recruiting trip to New Orleans, and we walked past each other in the hallway, and I pulled him aside. I said, if you come here, we will win a Super Bowl.
Really?
And sure enough, he signed the next year. He brought this aggressive defensive mentality. It was the one thing we were missing. We had a great offense. We had always had a great offense since my rookie year. But when Greg Williams came in, he brought a defensive mentality that changed our whole team. It changed our franchise. It changed our approach to every game. And we felt like it's us against everybody else. And we felt like there's nobody that can beat us. And so I'm a huge Greg Williams fan.
Fortunately, there was a bounty bowl that occurred thanks to Greg Williams.
It was.
You got after Brett Favre, but you got after him.
Yeah, we did.
You know, by hook or crook, you got after him. And you won the game. You won the Super Bowl. So before we let you go, you're going to be doing college football. And I know you've been watching Kyler Murray.
I have, yeah.
Project him. Would you take him first overall? Is he going to be a star, a superstar?
I think when I turn on the film and I watch Kyler Murray, I see a very, very talented quarterback. Forget about the height, right? Because I played with a guy, Drew Brees, who a lot of people said once upon a time he was too short, right? And every time I played with Drew, I never felt like, he was too short. Like I couldn't see him, or there was something about his height that affected me.
What are you? What do you say? Are you 6'?
I'm 5'11".
5'11"?
Yes.
Was he?
Drew's 6 foot.
I know. Was he? Did he feel like he was an inch?
No, I never felt like height was an issue because he played big.
Yeah.
And he has a high release point when he throws a football. And so when I turn on the film and I watch Kyler Murray, I see very similar characteristics. I see a guy who can play football, who loves the game, who makes the players around him better. He can extend plays in different ways than Drew Brees and Tom Brady, because I truly believe that a lot of these organizations maybe need to go through some kind of divorce counseling, because everybody's looking for the next Tom Brady, right? They're looking for the next Peyton Manning, the pocket passer quarterback, but more and more quarterbacks coming out of college football look like Russell Wilson. They play like Colin Kaepernick, right? They play like Aaron Rodgers, who's a scrambler, right? And so Andrew Luck, Carson Wentz, the list goes on. More and more quarterbacks are playing like this. And so when you have quarterbacks like Kyler Murray coming out of college and he's shorter and he's a more of a elusive style quarterback, this is what we're seeing more and more often of quarterbacks coming out of the league, right? And so the other narrative that I didn't like was how it got somehow to where he's not a leader. He wasn't great on board.
Wrong.
I don't understand how from one meeting you can say that a guy's not a leader, because I need to talk to his coach. I need to talk to the players. They all say a different tune. They all say, no, this guy loves football.
That is correct.
He is football first. And he has a lot of potential. And that's the one thing that organizations should be excited about, his potential.
You're right. Well, we agree about that.
Yeah.
Either way, Reggie, good to have
Thank
you.
you.
Great
We want to
job.
say
Way to
congrats
go.
again about the brand new Fox College football pregame show.